The white-tailed eagle is one of the largest and most impressive of all of Eurasia's wildlife. With its gigantic wingspan and great physical power, this huge bird is also the largest bird of prey native to the UK, and to see one in its wild state in some of the UK's most wild places is truly a sight to behold. I was recently lucky enough to visit the Isle of Mull in Scotland, which just so happens to be the stronghold of these birds in the UK. For this video, I'd thought I'd re-upload some of the best footage I managed to capture of these birds in the wild while I was at Mull, while giving some interesting facts about their ecology and behaviour in the wild. Before we dive into this video, however, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy this kind of content. The white-tailed eagle can be found right across Europe and Asia, from as far west as northern Scotland and Scandinavia to as far east as Siberia. These eagles typically live in areas close to coastal or wetland habitats adjacent to large forested areas in which to hunt and breed. However, like many large eagle species, especially among juvenile birds, they can travel immense distances when searching for new territory or feeding areas, and they can sometimes be spotted in the most unlikely of places. The white-tailed eagle was once completely extinct in the UK as a result of severe persecution. However, successful reintroduction that began in the 1980s has efficiently reintegrated this great bird among the UK's wildlife. The highest concentration of these eagles in the UK is in Western Scotland, particularly on the Isle of Skye and Mull, of which there are roughly around 22 breeding pairs. As previously mentioned, however, wild birds on passage do occasionally get spotted crossing over parts of England as well. To see a white-tailed eagle in flight is impressive, as their great size is truly unmistakable. They are the largest bird of prey that can be found in the British Isles, and are the larger of the two eagle species present, the other being the iconic golden eagle. The largest of these birds can have a wingspan of over 8 foot across or more, and weigh a staggering 7 kilos. Like almost all birds of prey, the females in this species are larger than the males. Compared to the golden eagle, the white-tailed eagle is usually slightly larger, with proportionally shorter tail feathers and a somewhat larger, more pronounced head and beak. Being a member of the fish or sea eagle family, the white-tailed eagle is much more similar in many ways to the iconic bald eagle of North America. Both of these birds are very similar in terms of their behavioural and anatomical features, and they fill a very similar ecological role in their respective habitats. However, while the American bald eagle is confined specifically to the Americas in the wild, the white-tailed eagle is found only in Eurasia. The white-tailed eagle lacks the bright white head of the bald eagle, although some individuals can have unusually pale head feathers. They do share, however, the bald eagle's large yellow bill and bright white tail feathers, although their tail feathers are somewhat shorter than those of most bald eagles. The white-tailed eagle's most distinctive feature by far, especially when they're in flight, is their enormous wingspan, for their wings are considerably longer and broader than many other birds of a similar size. They are considerably broader than those of golden eagles and even most bald eagles, with the secondary feathers almost touching the outer tail feathers in flight at full spread. As you can see from these photographs and footage in this video, it seems hardly surprising that many birdwatchers refer to this bird in flight as a flying barn door, as it is a fairly accurate description of how broad this bird's wings are. Juvenile white-tailed eagles, like this one for example, are a little more confusing to many when it comes to identification. These youngsters are typically very dark brown all over, much like juvenile bald eagles. These younger white-tailed eagles can be confused from a distance for the similar-looking golden eagle, although once again, the shorter tail feathers and broader wings should clinch the ID. As well as living alongside golden eagles, in the further eastern parts of their range, white-tailed eagles also live alongside other species of eagles. In parts of eastern Russia and Siberia, they come into contact with and frequently compete with the largest of all the sea eagles, the Steller's sea eagle. Both of these species are possible contenders for being the largest eagles in the world, having very closely sized wingspans, although the Steller's sea eagle is considerably heavier and has a much larger beak. In the harsh conditions of winter, these two birds often feed alongside and adjacent to each other, and sometimes fight for the right to feed, with the heavier Steller's sea eagle sometimes gaining an advantage. Being a member of the sea or fish eagle family, the white-tailed eagle, as its family name suggests, feeds on a large amount of fish. It is highly skilled at spotting fish near the surface and quickly snatching them with its razor-sharp talons, in a manner almost identical to that of a bald eagle and virtually all other species of sea eagle, which hunt in exactly the same way. The sight of such an enormous bird swooping down and snatching fish from the surface of coastal waters truly is awe-inspiring. However, like most other fish eagle species, the white-tailed eagle's diet does not exclusively consist of fish. Though often depicted as hunting around the coast, the reality is white-tailed eagles are also predators of wetlands and frequently attack stationary birds such as ducks and other waterfowl, sometimes pouncing on them in shallow water with their talons. As well as attacking birds sitting on the ground or in shallow water, white-tailed eagles, along with bald eagles, will also directly pursue birds on the wing and grab them out of the air with their talons as well. In fact, a select number of white-tailed eagle individuals on a few Scottish islands have become highly effective at catching geese on the wing, as this amazing image shows. Although they lack the tremendous speed and explosive striking power of a falcon like a peregrine, for example, in a stoop, these giant eagles, although initially looking rather cumbersome and heavy in flight, are exceedingly powerful and surprisingly tenacious. Their exceptionally large, broad wings give them a tremendous amount of lift and power when pursuing birds in direct flight, and they can be surprisingly effective at catching birds, even adept flyers like geese. Formidable predators though they are, sea eagles, however, like virtually every other predator on the planet, are opportunistic. They often target the easiest prey item in a flock, such as the weak, sick, or young. Like virtually all other larger eagle species, they also frequently scavenge, and carrion forms a large part of their diet. Contrary to popular belief, attacks by eagles on livestock such as sheep and lambs are exceedingly rare, and they are much more likely to scavenge an animal after it has already deceased. The breeding season of these eagles ranges from January to July in the southern parts of their range, and from April to September in the northern parts of their range. Like virtually all other larger eagle species, and indeed the majority of birds of prey in general, white-tailed eagles are monogamous and they pair for life. They typically nest either in areas of mature forest in larger trees or sometimes on cliff faces. Nests in trees are made up mostly of larger branches and can be enormous in size, though not quite as big as the nest of the American bald eagle, which currently holds the record for making the largest nest of any bird in the world. A mother eagle will usually lay 2 eggs in the nest, with one egg being laid and therefore hatching much earlier than the other in most cases. This often results in one chick being significantly larger and more developed than the other, as it is older and often receives more food from its parents, and this can lead to siblicide. Though this seems exceptionally cruel by human standards, it is somewhat common in many eagle species, and is often a strong insurance policy that ensures at least one chick grows strong and healthy and has a much higher chance of survival, with the second egg being laid almost as an insurance policy in case the first chick doesn't make it for some reason. However, if conditions are right with sufficient food and good weather, sometimes 2 chicks can make it to fledging age. The young won't be able to leave the nest until they are around 11 weeks old or so, and even then they will still hang around their parents' territory for up to a year or so, if necessary. After that, they will leave their parents' territory and may travel tremendous distances in search of a territory of their own, and by around 7 years of age, they'll reach sexual maturity and look much the same as their parents before them. It truly is great that these birds are back where they belong in the UK, where they are native to, especially considering they were once extinct in this country until recently. With their numbers remaining stable and increasing in Scotland, there is future hope for these birds to become even more widespread in the future. It's been recently stated as of last week, thanks to a successful reintroduction conservation programme in southern England, that the first white-tailed eagle chick has managed to fledge after 240 years of being absent in England. This truly is a remarkable achievement, and it brings the white-tailed eagle one step closer to recolonising much of its former range in the UK. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting, and I also hope you enjoyed the exceptional footage I managed to capture of these birds in the Isle of Mull. Until next time, I'll see you all in the next one.